There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. You should be able to hear me live on X now. Happy New Year's to you all. Glad to have you here today. We are, as usual, on every Wednesday, sitting down with Dr. K. This is your weekly tech AMA with the man himself. If you're hanging out with us here on X and you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comments. But we will actually be prioritizing the event in Discord. So again, we are simulcasting to you live from Discord. I'm going to pin a link up top here on X for those of you who want to join in Discord. Check that pinned tweet up above. You should be able to join us here on X. Community is rolling in here on Discord, and the questions are coming through. So we'll get this started here. Dr. K is with us over on Discord. How you doing, Dr. K? Anything you want to mention to kick this off?
Yeah, so it's rolling along, right?
Yeah.
Hash rate's up, prices up, buybacks are happening, right?
Yep.
Everything's working well, looking positive. Yeah.
Heck yeah. In your opinion, just my question to kick it, has the flywheel officially started turning?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was more resistance in like the 2 range than we thought there'd be, but now we're kind of in the 3 range. So, with that, basically rewards go up and that keeps it perpetually growing. So, when we started SOAP, we were right around 2 cents, and now we're right around 3 something, maybe 3.1. So I'd say 50% price appreciation in 2 weeks is pretty good. And I think it'll keep continuing.
Heck yeah. Rock on. That's good to see. I see a lot of folks out there tweeting about the market cap growth since the launch of SOAP. Guys, we're coming up on 2 weeks, but big things happening over here. So I'm also keeping my eyes peeled on soap.qu.ai and what to mine as well. And on Monday's Dev Q&A, there were a lot of questions about what to mine's profitability numbers. It looks like they are really accurate now, so that's good to hear. We're back at the top, most profitable token to mine on Shaw and Script and Kapow. So cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, guys. We got questions rolling in here again. Before I officially kick this off, we are simulcasted from Discord, so if you want to join in, check the pinned tweet up above. But feel free to drop your questions in the comments section over on X, and we'll reserve some time in the back half of the call to get to those. So if you have any questions for Dr. K or the team, feel free to join us on Discord or drop them in the comments section over on X, and we'll get to those shortly. All right. You ready to dive into the questions, Dr. K?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. All right. Let's see here. Kishore, per usual, collecting a lot of community questions for these spaces. First one here is, once everyone has adopted to SOAP or adapted to SOAP and the early shifts are done, what does a stable setup look like for miners and subsidy chains? It's a pretty broad question.
Yeah, I mean, if the price isn't growing, it's a neutral like thing, meaning there shouldn't be any sell pressure on the token because it's made up for with subsidy. And if it's growing, that should have deflationary price pressure or deflationary pressure, which means the price should go up. So that's the design.
Boom. Rock on. Easy one to get us started here. Next one. Do early participants in SOAP have a structural advantage, or does that smooth out as adoption grows? I think it depends on whether you're a miner or a holder, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're earlier, in either case, you're just getting applied at a lower price, right?
Yeah.
So, I think with efficient markets, right, like being an early participant, like benefits you, um, just because of price appreciation.
Yeah. I'm reminded of, our emissions.
And the same thing is true for miners as well, right? As the
Sure.
price goes up, like they also are benefiting,
Sure.
both in terms of like, um, profitability instantaneously, but also just like profitability because, Coinbase maturity's 2 weeks. So they're kind of like forced to hold and take a 50% gain.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. The thing that you've said in the past that comes to mind here is really the logarithmic emissions for Quai and how that kind of like smooths out the boom bust cycles that folks
Like
see.
it's very simple, right? As the hash rate goes up, we actually emit more Quai, which means that if, on the first day there were like $1,000 of, Quai buying, so say it's 1,005 right?
Hmm.
But then Quai goes from 2 to 3 cents. Um, if the markets are efficient and we're still like issuing 1,000 Quai at 3 cents, um, there's like equal net buying.
You're going robotic on us, Dr. K. Can you still hear us? FYI, folks, Dr. K is actually taking this one from the road. So shout out to the dedication there. You're still pretty robotic and cutting out pretty bad.
Rising, you're always making more money than you're having to pay out.
Okay, I think we caught the tail end of that. Just a quick mic check, Dr. K. If you didn't hear us, you went super robotic and cut out for most of that.
Yeah, I'm in the mountains. We might get a little bit of intermittency here. Just a check news.
Okay. No sweat. I think that was really important what you were highlighting there. The last thing you mentioned was that I caught was something shortly after as hash rate grows, emissions grows.
Yeah, so basically what ends up happening is in the case of like the price going from 2 to 3 cents, you're actually emitting 30% more Quai at 3 cents than you were at 2, right? Now, that's logarithmic. So when you go from say like 3 to 4, maybe it only goes up like 25%.
Mm,
Um, but as that like hash rate grows, you're emitting more. So in a growing situation, you're always effectively making more money than you're having to pay out.
got it. Okay. Appreciate that. Good questions, guys. Thanks, Dr. K, for repeating that one. Moving right along
So
here.
like
Oh,
I'll give the example now. So like the first day we ran SOAP, um, in like Quai terms, um, maybe that Quai that was emitted the first day is worth like, I don't know, like 14K,
mm,
right? But at our current hash rate, we're making probably like 18K
okay.
per day. So if everybody on the first day sold, there's still a $4,000 surplus.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that makes sense. Rock on. Okay, cool. We'll keep it moving here. We got a lot of questions coming through in chat. Um, Next one here. what real options do subsidy chains have today if they want to remain economically strong while participating in SOAP?
I mean, um, I would say that like why at the moment, in terms of its impact on subsidy chains, has no like different impact than another mining pool, to be honest. Um, so for example, um, hero miners, which is one of our like big pools, they have auto selling, right? Um, we're kind of
Oh man, we lost you again.
to that. It is.
The last thing we heard, Dr. K, was Hero Miners has auto selling.
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm just in a tunnel here.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so we're no different than like hero miners. So we're no different than any other pool that like allows auto selling on any of those subsidy chains.
Got it. When I think about this question, I get excited about the future with the potential for uh, a real atomic swap with real liquidity, being able to serve as Quai Network, being able to serve as an L2 to some of these other chains and give those tokens more utility.
Yeah, I mean longer term that is the goal, right? So because we kind of have anchored references, as those anchored references get more frequent, we should be able to do like a fully trustless um, wrapping of the subsidy chain tokens in the quad, which would then imbue their token with the same characteristics of quad.
Yeah. And for the community, I was hanging out in a miner chat earlier this morning. We're not the only ones who realize this opportunity, guys. So it's a real thing. So the future is bright. I'll just say that. All right. Thanks, Dr. K. Moving right along here. Which market factors like liquidity, price volatility, and fee revenue most might determine whether SOAP feels neutral or extractive in practice? Hmm.
I mean, the only time that I think like the subsidy chains will notice us at all is if we're like super majority of hash rate, to be honest. Um, yeah, I guess maybe the statement.
Okay, so think more in
Like
terms
until
of
that happens.
okay. So think
Yeah,
more in
like
terms of
I
hash rate.
I don't think there's any net economic impact on them whatsoever at this point in time.
Got it. Okay. I'll keep it moving
Yeah.
here. Does SOAP assume rational miner behavior, or is it designed to remain robust even if miners act myopically?
Um, yeah, I mean it's like so um if miners act irrationally, like it can change like the net flow, so there'll be like potentially like imbalance. Um, now, luckily, um, if there's an imbalance in the direction of profitability, markets like typically like to close that. If there's an imbalance in profitability, it would just mean we're making more money than we're giving out.
Got it.
So in either case, like it should be fine.
Got it. To be clear, worst case for Quai is net neutral. Nice. Good questions, guys. Thinking big in the community here about the implications of SOAP. Love to see it. Next one here kind of touches on something you mentioned previously. Would instant payout pools using SOAP liquidity with a burnable fee improve market elasticity without harming protocol incentives?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. Would instant payout pools, in parentheses, using SOAP liquidity with a burnable fee, improve market elasticity without harming protocol incentives?
I mean, the pool would have to like pull for that liquidity.
Yeah.
So as long as that liquidity is coming out of market, I don't think it would be net negative.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting
Right? So like
question.
the pool had to go and they're like, okay, there's a 4 million Quai here that like we need to be able to pay up front or something like that. As long as they're pulling that out of market to do it, it's a net neutral thing. They're probably gonna take a rip, cost of money and everything.
Right.
But if they wanted to do that, they could.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Trying to imagine the perspective. Okay.
Well,
Good.
because like for that to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like the pool is going to be continuously buying like 2 weeks out
Yeah.
to be able to give the miners the revenue instantaneously. So the net effect is zero from the market's perspective.
Yeah. Well, and the other thought I just had, that might be a good idea, if, you're a true believer in the future expected value of Quai.
Well, no, I mean it's kind of like the opposite, right? The reason that you would do that is because you're trying to get hash rate of miners who just want to solve Quai the same day.
Yeah, but
But
from the pool's
because it's a
perspective.
balanced flow, like it doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
So like the pool has to take on the capital risk. They're just transferring it.
Right. But then the pool would basically own those rewards that are locked for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, but so like they have to buy the capacitors, right?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
They do not understand.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So like there's still like a flow here. So if
Yeah.
they're to give it immediately, they have to like buy up 2 weeks of supply. They have to buy on the other side.
Oh yeah, okay, tracking.
It's a balanced thing. Like this isn't like magic, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah, they would have to, yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. Interesting question, guys.
so like if a pool wants to do an instant payout, like they can do it. It's not gonna affect the market. It may affect their competitiveness as a pool.
Right. Makes sense.
Right. Now that being said, they might want to, have to charge more points for that capital, but that's like their business.
Yeah.
But market perspective, it's net net.
Yep. Makes sense. Okay. That was, I found that question super interesting. Right on. Okay. Let's see here. Next one is, what is the intended steady state delta between minor emissions and SOAP buybacks at equilibrium price and hash rate? Should we expect plus minus
It should be
5%?
zero.
It should be zero. Okay.
It should be zero. Right now, we think we're about -5. This is our estimate right now.
Okay. Easy enough. Can block rewards?
The other interesting thing though is Cryptex does not support auto conversions.
Right.
So the majority of our hash rate previously was through Hero Miners, and Hero Miners does auto conversions to Bitcoin. And so like you can see in our TPS chart, like every hour they do payouts. And then you can see that kind of trickle into the book. Now our hash rate is in aggregate now I think only maybe like it's probably like 15% Hero Miners across the three algos. So 85% of the hash rate payouts now are not like able to be automatically converted. So I think we're not going to see as an efficient auto selling, which is going to be positive for us.
Yeah. Good news for Quai. Okay. Cool. Good questions, guys. Next one here. Can block rewards be split and paid to multiple addresses by the protocol itself?
Block rewards. We're talking about Quai blocks?
Yeah, I have to assume so. Maybe we'll just start there.
Yeah, I mean, shares only can have one address. That being said, like shares you can get pretty frequently, even with like a very de minimis amount of hash rate. So there's not like a huge need to be able to split a work share.
Fair. And blocks?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing.
Okay. Every 5 seconds. Now, what about the subsidy rewards? Are there additional options there?
Well, I mean, they're coming to us, so we don't need to split them. I mean, we hypothetically could put multiple payouts, but we just need one because we're taking it to market. So,
Right. Understood. Okay. Interesting questions. What behavior are you actually seeing from miners and holders of subsidy chains so far, or is it too early to find a pattern?
we'll find out on Thursday. What kind of happens with holding or selling.
Got it. Thursday being tomorrow. That marks the first 2 weeks of SOAP. Got it. All right, guys. Let's hear it. Last one in this block of questions. Do you expect SOAP to push the ecosystem towards one dominant proof of work chain over time, or towards multiple chains with different economic roles?
I guess my expectation is I don't think that you need many chains, at least from a technical perspective. That being said, if Bitcoin had quite characteristics from a capital perspective, Bitcoin might serve a role that DeFi does not. I'm perfectly kind of open to that thesis. Ultimately, from my perspective, it doesn't matter. I think the important piece is that SOAP just makes proof of work competitive on a utilitarian basis. So if that utilitarianism has to do with, how the asset transacts and how quickly and for what price and what programmability, that certainly will factor in. It has to do with total capital for participants and accessibility and whatnot. Like that will also factor in, and the market will decide kind of what they find most utility out of. But the important piece is that the market under a world where SOAP exists should focus on sending value to the chains that deliver maximum utility.
Much more nuanced answer than we've heard in the past, but still same point. With SOAP, the game will change towards chains that maximize utility. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion, if I had to project, is that I think Quai can meet all the requirements. So I think it could be a dominant chain. However, some people are pretty diehard about BTC, and it has very deep talons into the TradFi capital markets. So my opinion may not matter, right? If BTC suddenly has Quai-like characteristics, then people may still hold BTC as the asset that it is, and use Quai to trade it,
right?
Or use it. If that can be an outcome. I'm not. But for Quai, that's great, because that means that all BTC is moving on Quai.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. Love these questions, guys. Appreciate that, Dr. K. Shout out Kishore for collecting that list of questions from the community. We got Crypto Vegeta in the house here with one question. They say, when we get on big centralized exchanges like Kraken and more, will Quai also be listed as perpetual futures? They hope not, because they think that can break the project, even with buybacks daily, when big whales gather together and short a coin they don't like.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been our policy that we also don't like perps. We won't cooperate with people that are trying to create perps. But at some level, it's not fully in our control, right? If people want to make a perps market, they can. But we're certainly not going to facilitate it in any way.
Got it. Yep, great question, Crypto Vegeta. Definitely a risk.
Yeah, I mean, just perps generally, I think have been very negative for crypto.
Yeah.
I think it is why you see price action, why you do the way you do. It's the way that market makers and exchanges just extract from retail. Because effectively, when people do perp volume on a token, the perp volume largely outstrips the liquidity in spot. So they just pull a Jane Street. So if people don't know what Jane Street was doing in India, some derivatives like zero DTE options trade volume that's 200 times spot. So what Jane Street decided to do was they would lose money in spot to change the price to make money in the derivatives. So that's obviously market manipulation, and they eventually got found out and fined $6 billion. But that's what people do if your perp volume is bigger than spot. Is they move spot to manipulate the perp. So when you see these price movements in Bitcoin where it's oh look, it just went up 10K and then went down 10K, that's just people harvesting the money in the perpetuals.
Got it. Kind of shocking, but I think you've mentioned in the past, that's also a good way to, rediscover the correct price point, right? And make it more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Kraken is great and all, but if we can get liquidity across 6, 7, or 8 POW tokens, and those all trade and settle on chain, through a DEX, I think we could actually create a very competitive, decentralized offering, and ideally avoid exchange shenanigans.
Makes sense. Another reason I'm super excited for it.
Yeah.
Rock on, guys. A lot of questions coming through in chat. Gabriel, I see you got your hand raised. Shout out. Glad to see you. Feel free to let me know how many questions you got, and then I'll ask this next one and then bring you up on stage here. Keyshore was wondering, Dr. K, did you envisage the 2 billion mark so early? That is 2 billion in capital secured per our dashboard over at soap.q.ai.
I think it's 2 billion in transaction values that we secured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Oh, dang. Mic check. Oh, yeah, I got you back now. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. What was I saying?
The last thing we got was 2 billion in transaction volume secured.
Value, yeah, because they're securing other subsidy chains, right? So that's, you know, the value that has flowed through those blocks. Now, to be, you know, above board here, right? These are UTXO chains, so you don't know what like the real spend is on anything. But anytime you spend, like a UTXO, it gets destroyed, and then at least two new ones are created, like the spend one and a change one, so to speak.
Right.
So, you know, if I have say like, you know, 10,000 BCH or something as like a UTXO and I spend it, right? That counts as like spending the full 10,000, even though I might have only spent like $5, right?
Right.
But that's just like the nature of how like the accounting is done in the UTXO context. So just, you know, grain of salt that, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, it's like a true number. It's just if you're talking about real economic flow, that like isn't the real number.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's just the number as like you can understand it in a UTXO context.
So would it be more accurate to say 2 billion in UTXOs created?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
I mean, it technically is transacted because like your change is part of the transaction.
Right.
I'm just expressing that it's not like economic flow.
Yeah, it's not value.
Right? If I were to say like what the economic flow is, it's going to be much less. But you only know what it is if you can identify what the change is and what the spend is,
right.
which you can't.
Right. Right. Okay. It's a big number, guys.
Unless people are reusing addresses, but most wallets like don't reuse addresses anymore.
Yeah. No, most wallets don't reuse addresses, and there's probably a decent amount of change in those transactions. So big number, guys, but net new UTXOs.
Right, it's like if I go to the store, right, I buy a pack of gum, it's like $1, and I spend 100. Right, that's going to record as $100 of transaction value, right?
Yeah.
But the economic flow is only $1. Then I'm going to get $99 back.
Got it. Rock on here. Okay, Gabriel's got one question. Let me bring him up on stage, and then we'll get to the next block. Howdy, Gabriel. Happy New Year's Eve, sir.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my question was about. Oh, I was just I kind of wanted to revisit what you said about 5 minutes or so ago, like where you said that your view, like your personal view, is that Quai can really provide the utility that these other networks have, but then you said that there might still be a place for other networks, and I was just kind of curious, like, I tend to agree more with what you described as your personal view, and one of the ways to think about this, like, I just this morning I was looking up like dead proof of work chains, and like if everybody's transacting Bitcoin over Quai, And that means anybody who actually sends Bitcoin over Bitcoin, like they're going to be paying like what, like $10,000 transaction fees, or I mean like there's a certain point at which I think there's actually a death of like the subsidy chains. If Quai does really well, first of all, if SOAP ends up capturing like a super majority of their hash rate, and then second of all, just if people are then using Quai as like the layer, and then ultimately the applications, just for the sake of scale, will move over to Quai, whatever applications there actually are. Like on Ravencoin, for example, they have like their kind of stock issuance thing. So I was like, I kind of like, I guess the question that I have is more like, what is the long term fate
I mean,
of coins?
yeah. So like you're talking about different characteristics, right? So I mean, you can play like you can look at it many different ways over many different time periods, right? Fundamentally, Bitcoin's economic model is broken, right? If you actually look at it, the fact is that you have this cap supply. If the cap supply remains, then the mining subsidies are going to decrease over time. The throughput's limited, so you're not going to be able to offset that revenue through transaction fees, and therefore, at some point, the chain will become insecure, right?
Yeah.
That like very much exists in Bitcoin. And then the other problem you have is that even with Bitcoin as an asset, we look at something like Lightning or Layer 2 or say Quai, for example, um, you know, when we figure out how to sort of trustlessly interoperate with it,
Right. Yeah.
you still have the problem that if every person wanted to say do like an open transaction into Quai or Lightning or whatever it is, it would still take 80 years for everybody in the world to be able to open one channel, right? You're still going to have that limitation with Bitcoin. Now, that being said, Bitcoin has $2 trillion in capital behind it. It has this like brand behind it. It has, all these dApps and ETFs and things, right? So there are aspects of Bitcoin as an asset that transcend Bitcoin as a technical layer. And you also have to realize that there is value, brand, and capital amongst that as an asset, at least in the short to mid term, right? That could change over time. And, I think in the long term, if markets are rational, that probably will change given some of those technical limitations. But, that's my personal opinion. There could be a world where everyone is transacting Bitcoin on Quai for some period of time. I don't know. But it's not really my call to say what it is or it isn't. We'll just see how the market develops. But in either case, it's good for Quai because either, capital like flows into Quai at some rate, or Quai is used as the layer to move the BTC, which generates fees and revenue. So in either case, like it's all good, right?
Right, for Quai.
Like whatever that split is over whatever time period, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I would say that it's even good for the chains as a whole. Like if we're going to change the topic slightly, so one of the things that I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about, but it kind of is related to this, and it's interesting. Is I posted something where I was responding to this like Ravencoin guy, and I said that like out of respect for you and all of the Ravencoin holders, like SOAP functions like a miner who sells 100% of their tokens, and like my view is basically kind of like in terms of the attitude and like the tone that we should take, or not attitude and tone, but like basically like I don't necessarily like I had the view that like I didn't want like people who are holders of Bitcoin or Ravencoin or whatever to sort of like it like obviously like SOAP will over the long term at least end up creating a lot of buy pressure, or sorry, a lot of sell pressure, which of course they're already getting from miners, but like SOAP is definitely guaranteed to be like 100% sell pressure on these other chains, and like we don't necessarily want people to have my view is that we don't want people to have ill will toward Quai and Quai Network, if they are like Ravencoin maxis or whatever, and they have like their entire net worth in Ravencoin or something. So my view is like that the economically rational thing for them to do would be for them to
Yeah, but
sell those other coins.
no, I saw your post, man. I think you gotta Sun Tzu this a little bit more. Right? Because um, you need to let them get to that conclusion themselves. You can't just like slap them in the face with it. Um,
Well, yeah, but I mean, like
yeah,
the sooner that they realize that they protect their net worth, like
no, but like
right,
they won't. If you're not tactful enough with it, like they just won't even listen, right?
right. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean,
So you have to do it like a little bit more of a like a gentle way,
yeah. I mean, I
right?
can see why that. I mean, but it's ultimately at their own loss. Like,
No. I get it, but like it's like human.
well, yeah. I mean,
Human
my
psychology,
goal
right?
isn't to.
So like
Yeah.
like if you come in and like you're like too blunt or like too forward too quickly, like people just don't listen, right?
Right. Until the net worth starts.
You kind of have to like more gently hint at something and kind of let them logically make the progression for it to like hit.
Well, that's one way to do it, I guess. Yeah. I sort of just like put the truth out there.
No, I'm just saying, like, people that were in Raven Point who read that probably got like your fourth, like, part of the thread were like, fuck this guy, and like, stopped reading. Right? Like, you just gotta be a little more tactful with it so that, like, you can get them there, but,
I guess,
you know,
I mean, I'm not in the business of being tactful. I'm in the business of saying things that are true. But I just, I mean, like, is there any sense in which it's not the economically rational choice? Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it'll play out the way.
yeah, but we also, so there's
It just cut out a little bit.
Stand by, folks. Dr. K is either driving through a tunnel or rounding a mountain ridge.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you back.
Okay. So it's in Quai's best interest that Raven Coin like is successful for as long as possible, right? Because that subsidy is subsidizing our compile hash rate. If that goes away, Quai has to start paying for that compile hash rate again.
I understand that, but I guess I just like don't like the idea of sort of like 3 years. Or I don't know. Like, I mean, something about like pretending like the price of Ravencoin isn't going to go down relative to Quai, and then like people just like are holding Ravencoin, and we didn't like tell them up front, like, listen, like, here's what's gonna happen, and like you need to radically change your worldview, or else like I mean, like, in the long term, like,
Well, like everyone has different worldviews, right? We don't actually know how it's going to play out, when, and on what time frame, right?
well, yeah, I mean, I would say that I am like sort of looking at things in the limit, like Quai crushing Bitcoin, like, probably will take like at least 5 years, if not more. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what we all hope for, but like we don't know the time frame that plays out on, right? And there's if the world was perfectly rational and efficient, like we would get there and we'd get there quickly, right? But we know that it's not rational or efficient on shorter time frames, so we don't actually know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Right, and the thing is, like, you need to let people like get to this themselves, right? If they get there themselves, like, you just need to give them the waypoints. You don't need to project like the absolutism that like this is going to happen and like your thing's going to zero, right? That's just gonna put them off. But if you give them like the information that they need to understand the economic dynamics, if they're a thoughtful person, they'll start to figure it out and they'll make their own worldview on when they think that'll happen and on what time frame. Right.
I get, yeah.
And that's how you generally convert them, is like they need to get to that conclusion themselves, and then they're gonna be like, oh shit, okay, But you're just trying to guide them to that conclusion. You can't start with the conclusion. Like, no one's gonna like listen long enough to figure out that you're right.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I had all my money like in something that would like turn out to be a bad investment, like I would want someone to tell me like the in the limit like argument of like why I'm going to lose all my money as quickly as possible so that I didn't lose my money. But like, maybe that's just me.
There's many different people out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just human psychology, right? Like, most people aren't quite as non-emotional, that if you present them with something, like, won't react to it. So you just have to kind of guide them and let them get there themselves.
Alan's asking to come up.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I want to make an important point on this because the world moves with inertia, and certain things have inertia, and inertia continues to compound or decay. And if you look at these systems, something like Ravencoin, Bitcoin Cash, they all have various things that they've done to entrench themselves, create their distribution, and create their pipelines that cements their narrative. Part of what Ravencoin does, and the reason why Ravencoin is good, is because it has this aura of ossification, of permanence, of it will continue to exist. And that is some of the selling points of Ravencoin. And so the ability for Quai to come and do soap against Ravencoin is a good thing for Ravencoin. And that actually might be a positive because they're proving their model that they are secure, that anyone can come and build, that anyone can do whatever it is that's baked into the protocol rules, and that is a benefit to their technology. And so just because someone has a certain take on the future expected value and the technological utility and the community and XYZ, I think it just goes to show that oftentimes your own bias can create a certain way of interacting with people. And I think Dr. K said it right. We want to have a better way of communicating this to people, that this is a good thing. We are doing this in a symbiotic way. We are doing this in a way that promotes utility for both tokens. If we can create a decentralized atomic DEX where we remove shenanigans from exchanges, that's a good thing. We should empower financial sovereignty. We should empower this being censorship resistance, and we should empower people to realize that this is all happening in a way that is actually making crypto better, not worse. And sure, there are ways in which we can describe it, but I think from my standpoint is we want to do this in a way that is benefiting everyone. Like, this is PvE, right? This isn't a PvP.
Yeah, well, so like what it ultimately is that SOAP itself is just putting everybody in a race.
Right.
Right. And it's a fair race. And it is, Gabriel's opinion that in a fair race, like, Quai's going to win. That's fine, but like, that's his opinion, right? We don't know, right? And in some ways, Ravencoin has advantages of time. It has advantages of distribution. It has advantages of market cap.
Well, and they could possibly actually fork aspects of our code base and make themselves unstoppable as well.
Sure.
No, they can't.
Well, technically they can't.
No, they can't.
They can try, right? And
the only thing that they could do to like make themselves unstoppable would have to be to drop their block times to like 10 seconds.
Or move to proof of stake.
That's like the only defensive mechanism they would have.
Yeah, well, this is beyond my. So yeah, I guess you would know better than me. I definitely am not an expert in that.
But besides that, like, there's no real way that they could like make it so that you can't soak them.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it's all. I mean, I guess ultimately, if we end up bringing more people into crypto overall, then there could be a world where, like, even 20 years out, all of the soap subsidy chains are still have some kind of robust existence. I guess my view is just strictly directed toward anyone who's holding these things as like a number go up sort of thing. Like that would just
at the same time, I think in some ways Bitcoin's number could go up.
Yeah,
right. If you make it so Bitcoin suddenly has all of this better utility in a trustless way, that's a net positive for Bitcoin.
Net positive for us.
Literally make the number go up.
If Ravencoin went up 3x overnight, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dynamics, especially in the midterm timeframes, like aren't as black and white as you see them, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You're looking at like an end state, right? But like that end state could be a decade from now. It could be 2 decades from now, right? And the interim time, like, you know, there's a lot of inertia, and there's a lot of capital, and there's a lot of, mind share in these systems that, these things could be net positive. I mean, it could be net positive for Bitcoin Cash too, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, I appreciate your opinion, your views on those things.
I think, if I were to add
It's
anything,
just from a security budget perspective, we're making it so that like we're always like in the advantage position, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's also I mean, it's important also for people on any of these subsidy chains to know that, like, that SOAP functions like a miner who sells 100% of their income, but it functions like an honest miner. So it's not like we're going to be like trying to reorder blocks, even if we have like 80% of the hash rate through SOAP or something. So that's also
that's right.
Yeah. So we are protecting them against like truly hostile actors who would try to aim like in a data center or something like at Ravencoin to like wreck.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to try to pull a cubic, right?
Yeah.
Like that is outside of our interest.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, Ravencoins. I mean, I was looking at them, and they actually have some interesting like native asset tokenization that could actually, like, it's UTXO based like asset tokenization that could have some interesting applications. Like, I mean, I don't know the degree to which that could probably all be coded on Quai, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, okay, I'll let.
Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff is like it's very easy to do on Quai, but Ravencoin does have it.
Yeah. What about actually related? Well, I'll ask that another time. Doesn't matter. I've already spent a lot of time. Thank you so much.
of course, really valuable conversation and questions, Gabriel. Really appreciate you coming up and sharing your thoughts. My summary, guys, for the audience, if you're listening in, we're playing a PvE game, and that benefits the most people for the longest amount of time. So that's what we want to keep doing as long as we possibly can. Rock on. Thanks, Gabriel. Great questions. We got one in here. Where did it go? Sorry. Wotan was asking about staking. He's really interested in being able to stake in the Tangem wallet. Staking is still TBD, but any thoughts to give us some expectations on staking, Dr. K?
Yeah, right now we're working on a pool. So we've figured out like kind of how to make D pools work better. So that's kind of like where our focus is at the moment. We're basically going to launch like a zero fee pool for Quai mining. And because of how workshops work, it'll look kind of like a PPLNS, like zero fee. But longer term, any node will be able to participate as like a template provider. So that's kind of like what we're focused on at the moment. We're just working out some issues with some larger ASICs when they run against the pool. But that's kind of been our focus. So staking is something we are still looking at, but we want to make sure we understand the economics of the market a little bit more before we just jump into it, I guess would be the statement.
Got it. So
like, I mean, like the thing that we're worried about is, with staking, like there's very much mercenary capital that comes in, and we need to understand like what that is, what that looks like, what the sort of economic impact of them participating would be at scale. And make sure that it's going to be like net positive for us.
Right. So, what more research to be done, and also more information to discover as we kind of round out the full list of opportunities for hash rate with SOAP by allowing decentralized pools, solo mining across all three algorithms. Really making sure we've ticked every box to achieve hash rate efficiency.
Yeah, well, there is a surprise to come in. It's going to be the new year, I think, but there's a surprise, and I think it's on the scale of SOAP. So that will be fun to announce. I just can't announce it yet.
You keep alluding to that. You got myself and the rest of the community on the edge of our seats. 2026. It's good. I got nothing but good feelings about it. Rock on.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to hash rate and revenue, guys. That like is the game that's afoot. The game of crypto is a game of hash rate, and it's a game of revenues.
Hash rate and revenue.
So, how do you maximize those things?
Right. Okay. Let's see here. Coming up on time, there's another wall of questions from Keyshore. I'm going to scroll ahead, but how much time do you got remaining, Dr. K? We probably have about 6 or 7 more questions here.
Oh yeah, I can keep going for a minute.
Okay. I'm going to skip ahead and then I'll come back, Keyshore. Just looks like just a comment from Steph that's been highlighted by the community here. He says, I love the way Quai thinks about hash rate and what its actual functions are in honestly securing a blockchain. Hash rate is sacred and hash rate is a resource that is competed for. I just don't have a good sense of what a good metric is to consider our value provided to subsidy chains, especially when it's priced again in dollars, which is the thing we care to stop thinking in. Maybe he wants to see it priced in chi. This was born out of a conversation about the $2 billion dollars in transactions secured. Any thoughts you want to share on that, Dr. K?
I don't know if I completely followed the meta.
How do we quantify the value we're adding to these other chains?
Well, I mean, they're technically quantifying it for us because they're paying us for the security.
Fair.
Right?
So maybe it's just that revenue.
I mean, that would be like the economic indicator, right? So we
Yeah.
provided $140,000 in value.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe it's just a feature request to also price these values in chi. That might be interesting. Okay. All right. Gabriel, let me know again how many questions you got. I see you got your hand raised. I'm going to start in on this next block from Keyshore. Next question here is SOAP trying to rebalance the number of Quai tokens entering the market or the dollar value of what miners earn and sell? And how does price volatility affect that balance?
Oh, man, these are long questions. One more time, you're going to have to do the whole thing.
Sure. Is SOAP trying to balance the number of Quai tokens entering the market or the dollar value of what miners earn and sell? And how does price volatility affect that balance?
Yeah, so it's designed to always like be in balance, right? So if you have rational markets with rational miners, there should be basically, if we put out notionally like $1,000 for a given day in Quai for reward, you should be getting $1,000 back in subsidies. Right now, we think in net aggregate, we're probably at maybe minus 5%, because the market isn't fully rational yet. I think once people see, the price hold up under, these unlocks that are coming, that will help confidence and increase rationality. And at some point, when people actually start to realize that the 2-week hold is a positive FEV, you may actually see the instantaneous Quai be at a discount, meaning we'll put out $1,000 in Quai and bring in $1,200 in subsidy.
Got it. Good questions, guys. All right, Gabriel, let's see. I'm going to bring you up. And then there's at least 2 other questions I want to get to before we wrap. Go ahead, Gabriel.
Yeah, thank you. I just had a topic that I just want to throw out there that's like my view on something, and we can take it or leave it. But like in terms of the so my view, basically the view that I've seen expressed that I think is not true is the idea that if instantly all of our subsidy, let's say that all the hodlers of every single subsidy chain that we're soaping, if they suddenly sold everything and then bought Quai with it, I think yes, the soap revenue would go away, but first of all, them just buying Quai would create buy pressure, and second of all, then we would have these incentivized agents who would then try to spread the mission of Quai. So my view would be that the view that we don't want to scare the subsidy chain token holders too much.
No. That's not even the thing.
Yeah.
That's not even it. Did you get the COVID vaccine?
Yeah. But I'm not sure how I feel about it.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So retrospectively, you're that probably wasn't a good idea, right? But if you go to a family member and you were I didn't get the COVID vaccine, and you were a dumbass for getting it, are you going to be able to communicate a point to them, and are they going to listen?
I guess it depends on how much control they have with their emotions. But I guess I completely understand. I completely understand what you're saying, and that's not something that I'm good at.
Right? They did. You could say it. It could be true.
Right.
And it's just not going to even register.
Right. I guess the point that.
So there's a way you need to go about it to get them to get to the conclusion themselves.
Right.
And you'll actually get a much better effect. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. I completely understand that. I guess the thing, my view would be that any idea of we want to sort of hide from the subsidy chain token holders the fact that we function like a miner who sells 100% of their revenue. I would say,
but that is that's not an extreme position. You have to understand that most of the pools do the same thing.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what those actual ratios are for normal pools, but yeah.
Yeah. So when you're in the minority, it's not even a thing that registers economically, right? So it's not about the fact that the mining and the selling should really have any net economic impact on them. It could be very marginal, right? Because best case scenario for any of these tokens, on an aggregate, they're maybe getting 10% of the token held. It's mined, maybe.
Right.
So if we make up, 15% of Ravencoin, and we're 100% seller, we're only moving the needle, 1%. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not even real effect. And I'm saying that's best case. Right?
Best case that we're 15% of their hash rate?
No. Best case that 90% of the tokens that are mined are sold.
Oh.
That's being generous. It's probably higher than that.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, I understand that. I guess
right. So we're only moving that a fraction. So that's not the important point here.
Right. Okay. I guess,
Right? The important point, what you're saying is we're in an economically advantaged situation because we don't have the sell pressure. We're reusing your unused hash.
yes. Yeah.
Right? So it's not about the selling, it's about the fact that we're smart enough to use something that you don't know how to use to our benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think my point would be that I guess
It's less of a detriment on them than it is a benefit to us, and because we have that benefit, and we're in most ways, that this is better, right? So it's not like this argument that we're like selling all your tokens. It's just like that's what happened, right? That happened.
you're cutting out a little bit.
Right. The argument here is that like we figured out how to use your leftovers to our benefit.
Yeah.
That makes us more competitive. Right. Like that's the real story.
Yeah. I guess the main point that I'm making is kind of bigger than the specific issue. It's basically, I guess the most like extreme and blunt version of my statement would be that even though like if all of the subsidy token holders, including like everybody who owns any Bitcoin at all, was to sell all of those other coins and buy Quai with it, ultimately that would be net benefit for Quai token holders and for Quai.
Right. So figure out how to model the story.
Even though we would lose the SOAP revenue, like we could just magically sell.
Yeah, that's fine. But figure out how to model the story so that you get the people to hear it and come to the conclusion that they should sell their token and buy Quai.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Like that's all we're talking about.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
It's like how do you tell that story so that they hear it, and like the way that they hear is they have to get to the conclusion of what to do themselves. So you have to present the story in a progression that they listen to it and they're able to get the key points and then make like the connection and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like something that someone should do. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry, we've talked enough about.
Yeah, I mean, just as like a waypoint, right? When you talk about like Bitcoin, you can look at the balance sheets of large miners like Marathon and Plaid and everything. And right now, Bitcoin is probably actually selling. It's probably 99% sold. Like FYI.
Crazy.
So
yeah.
Because prices are high, so the only way miners survive is to sell when prices are high. Prices are high right now, so like they sell every token they mine.
If they are hedging themselves, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. My other question was, when do you think when do you think it'll be possible for when do you think there will be like Qi trading against the US dollar such that we can start like pricing things in Qi instead of USD, like for like a reliable.
Yeah, we're hoping Q1 we can get a market set up, like on a major exchange. Qi's a little bit more tricky, but yeah, that's our goal.
Cool. Okay. Sorry for taking so much time. Thank you.
No, it's good questions, Gabriel. Again, really appreciate you coming up and sharing your thoughts. Yeah, I'll just also add, figuring out that story, that's a challenge. All right.
It's underutilized hash rate, guys.
Yep.
If they fully utilize the hash rate, we wouldn't be able to touch it. Right. So like in the case of Caspa, like Caspa can't be soaked because its hash rate is 100% utilized.
There you go. Nice. Okay.
Right. So like all these other chains are basically like 1% utilized, and we're going to utilize the other 99%.
I like it.
It's like how you have to think about it.
Yeah.
And that is like the most honest like version of it.
Yep. Okay. Cool beans, guys. I got two more for you, Dr. K, before we wrap up. These are good questions just to get some of your insight on some of these bigger topics here. Generic question for you. Should decentralization be defined by protocol guarantees or by how easy it is for humans to participate? It's an interesting question.
I mean, it should all be market incentives, right?
Yeah.
An efficient market should have barriers to participation, right? So, like, as long as you create incentives that allow many participants to, like, efficiently participate, you get decentralization.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, if it's too
Right.
easy,
So
it's
like,
inefficient. Yeah.
well, no. I mean, it's what the market is, right? So, like, just having like a human, like, be like, I'm here. That doesn't provide like a service, right?
Yeah.
You know, service is hash rate, it's bandwidth, it's disk space, it's computational power, right? So then if you price those markets correctly, you make it so that like many people can compete in providing that service, you'll get an efficient market. And then with the efficient market, you get decentralization.
Yeah. Would it
So,
also be
like, it all comes from efficient market design is like the answer. So,
Okay.
you know, point would be like ASICs, for example. Having some amount of ASICs in the system does create a degree of barrier because ASICs are more expensive than GPUs to get started. Right. Now that being said, having free hash algos and subsidies coming in from those chains and having a greater diversity of pools and hardware also increases like your resilience to someone being able to attack you, which increases decentralization. Right. So there's like a balance between the barrier, I guess, and the like attack surface in some ways. Right. If you made the barrier like you need to like check a box that says you're human, like that's such a low barrier that's easy to, you know, attack. Right. But like everyone can technically participate, but it's very easy to attack. Right. So like as like the barrier starts to go up, you get, you know, the number of participants goes down, but your cost to attack goes up. So then your net decentralization is actually increasing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I like the way you think about that. Unique angle, but makes perfect sense. And probably not so unique, but yeah, we probably don't talk about it in those terms enough when we talk about decentralization in crypto. Highlighting the market incentive design approach we do to everything over here at Quai Network. Rock on. Last one I got for you today, Dr. K. Someone asked, can we determine how much of current hash rate growth is new hardware versus redirected hash from other proof of work chains? Can we determine how much of current hash rate growth is new hardware versus redirected hash from other proof of work chains?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume over this time frame, it's mostly redirected hardware.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering about how we measure that. That's an interesting question. Definitely something that would probably be super difficult to measure. But
Yeah, I don't know if it's measurable, right?
yeah, I mean, my best guess is like if we could get some insight into rented hash rate, that might be an indicator.
Yeah, I don't know if you could measure it. Yeah. I mean, Ravencoin's hash rate actually went up when we started this. So I think that was hardware that wasn't mining Ravencoin.
Right.
Right.
Right. Quai hash rate moving
Maybe they're
over.
mining something else. But Yeah, we definitely added to their hash rate.
Interesting factoid.
Yeah, we're like 50% Reignite coin too.
15, 1-5.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, rock on, guys. That was a really good call. Really appreciate you spending the time with us, Dr. K. I know you're always multitasking per usual, but on behalf of the community, you made the sacrifice, and I think we all really appreciate it. Really valuable conversations today as well. Great questions from the community. See a lot of new folks joining in. Guys, we do these every Wednesday. This is the last one in the year 2025. So happy New Year's to you all, if you celebrate on this calendar at least. So before yeah, I got you.
I said I'm actually going to dox my position. I'm at Red Rocks right now.
Oh, freaking jealous. Are you hiking? Are you doing yoga on the rocks?
Yeah, we're exploring here a little bit. Yeah,
Oh man,
it's a pretty cool place.
I got stories of Red Rocks. I might share those on a live stream later. Crazy place. Crazy place. Jealous. How was I know you got some skiing in over the holiday. I saw the snow reports watching the Avalanche games. Looks like they dumped recently. Were you able to catch some fresh pow pow?
No, it's been pretty dry, but it's still good. I mean, bad snow in Colorado is still better than most snow elsewhere. So
Oh yeah, 100%.
had a good time.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'm glad you could relax and spend some time with your family. Whole team's been burning a lot of midnight oil. So I'm super jealous. If you're around and you're interested, Avs play tonight, and it's going to be a killer game. You should definitely check it out if you haven't seen an NHL hockey game. It's an experience. There might be some tickets left. So that's my only tip for you.
Okay, well, cool guys. I'm gonna go explore here.
Yeah, enjoy the time with the family.
Yeah, happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, Dr.
Yep.
K. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody who was hanging out with us today. I didn't see any questions over on X, but we do this every Wednesday, folks, so feel free to join us next week. Dr. K will be doing a live stream with, Christopher, sorry. Check the tweets. I think is it Dev Connect? Christopher, help me out here. Where you at? Oh, you're not in Discord right now. Anywho, check the tweets, guys. You'll get Dr. K 10 a.m. Central Time on Friday, and then we got a good Quiet Friday planned for you. Team is working overtime on getting a new release out to GoQuai for all of you who are interested in solo mining with your SHA and script ASICs and getting ready for decentralized mining pools. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I think the final testing is underway. That should be going out any minute, any hour now. But stay tuned for that. Definitely follow the Quai Network account for all your updates. We got a lot to unlock in 2026. And if you're new around here and you need to get your hands on some Quai, check out Kipper.money. The whole community is cracked on tipping each other on X. So engage with us on X and get Kipper money. It's a great way to earn some Quai. If you need even more, we are traded on Mexi, Gate.io, and LBank. You can swap your useless tokens for more useful ones over at SwapSpace and Let's Exchange. And we are on the Kraken roadmap. Team is working on that integration as we speak. Get ready for a big start to 2026, y'all. Happy New Year's, everybody. And thank you, Kishore, Developer DAO, at developer_DAO over on X. You'll be able to find Dr. K there on Friday morning. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Celebrate safely tonight, and we will see you in 2026. Peace out, y'all.